Athens, 399 BCE. A city at its peak, the birthplace of democracy, philosophy, and art. But even in this beacon of civilization, a shadow fell over its brightest mind. A man stood accused, not of violence or theft, but of corrupting the youth and impiety. His name, Socrates. His crime, asking too many questions. For decades, Socrates had walked the streets of Athens, engaging its citizens in tireless debate. He sought wisdom, questioning politicians, poets, and artisans. His method, the Socratic method, stripped away pretension, revealing ignorance where people claimed knowledge. This earned him disciples but also powerful enemies. 3 men, Meletus, Anytus, and Lyco, brought charges against him. They claimed he denied the city's gods and introduced new deities. More dangerously, they alleged he corrupted the minds of the young, teaching them to question authority. A grave threat to a city still reeling from war and political instability. Socrates could have begged for mercy. He could have flattered the jury, played on their sympathies. But that was not Socrates. In what we now know as the Apology, brilliantly recounted by his student Plato, he remained defiant, yet profoundly truthful. He declared he was merely a gadfly, sent by the gods to sting the lazy horse of Athens into wakefulness. He argued that his questioning wasn't corruption, but a service, forcing people to examine their lives. An unexamined life, he famously declared, is not worth living. He refused to abandon his mission, even under threat of death. He even proposed a fine of a free meal for life in the Prytaneum, a great honor usually reserved for Olympic heroes, as his punishment. It was a final, ironic jab at his accusers, demonstrating the absurdity of their charges. The jury voted. Socrates was found guilty by a narrow margin. Now came the sentence. The prosecution demanded death. Socrates had the chance to propose a lesser punishment, perhaps exile. His friends had even arranged an escape plan. But Socrates refused exile. He believed that to leave Athens, the city he had always served, would be to abandon his principles. It would be an admission of guilt, a betrayal of his life's work. To accept exile, he reasoned, would be to agree that asking questions was wrong, that seeking truth was a crime. He would rather die, maintaining his integrity, than live a life in silence. The jury, provoked by his defiance, condemned him to death by hemlock for 30 days. While a sacred Athenian ship was away, Socrates awaited his execution. His friends, especially Crito, again pleaded with him to escape. They had bribed the guards, arranged a safe passage. On his final day, he spent his last moments discussing the immortality of the soul with his students, reassuring them, teaching until the very end. Then, with calm resolve, he took the cup of hemlock. His final words, as his body grew cold and numb, were to Crito. Crito, we owe a rooster to Asclepius. Please, don't forget to pay the debt. A final, poignant nod to the god of healing, perhaps suggesting death was a cure for life's afflictions. Socrates' death was not an end, but a beginning. It solidified his legacy as the ultimate martyr for truth and intellectual integrity. His sacrifice inspired generations of philosophers, from Plato and Aristotle to countless thinkers throughout history. He taught us that true freedom lies not in escaping consequences, but in living by one's principles, no matter the cost. His death stands as a testament to the power of courage in the face of injustice, and a timeless reminder that asking the right questions, even when uncomfortable, is the highest form of civic duty. So, what truths do you live by? What questions are you afraid to ask? And what price are you willing to pay for your principles? The legacy of Socrates challenges us all to examine our own lives, and perhaps find the courage to live a life truly worth living.